Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about weak programmers. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, I feel like a weak programmer. I have a PhD in computer science and I'm been known for my ability to solve problems, for example, even programming puzzles. Why is it that I feel so disinterested and dumb about coding at work, even after a year in the industry? And how do you think I can improve my situation? A whole year. Wow. Dude, cut yourself some slack. Holy shit. A year in the industry, you're basically like you're like you're not even dry behind the ears at that point. Uh, so like throwing out your PhD in computer science and so forth, it's not going to matter for shit after a year of work. You're going to be as rookie as everybody else. You really have to drive this home. You need to nail this into your head. There is a difference between learning the theory of software development or programming or computer science and actually doing real work. They have the teachings that you will learn in computer science will absolutely be relevant. They're going to be a fairly good preparation, but it is not actual work because computer science is focusing on something very different from what the software developer is trying to achieve. Although we use computer science theory, it's not the only thing that we do. There's quite a lot of tooling and other complexities that comes with the package. So, as to why you feel disinterested and so forth in work, uh, I'm just gonna guess here that you are a textbook problem solver, a puzzle solver. In other words, your emotional state and the only time that, well, you know yourself better than I do, but I'm just gonna guess that you are a person who gets happy when you get to work on a very hard or interesting problem. That's when you are really happy. And surprise, surprise, you are now realizing that it is not the sort of work that you do when you're at work. Because the sort of stuff that you do at work is usually either just trying to figure out how all these tools fit together, trying to figure out how the legacy of the system is working, trying to just remember like how you're supposed to do everything and so forth. You're just trying to understand the code base. You're not actually feeling as if you're working on a very high stakes, interesting problem. And that is something that I can very, very deeply relate to. Because and I think that a lot of developers can relate to this. There are some problems and some work that you do on in the daily grind that is more fun than other stuff, but sometimes you get that special one. You get to work on something that is extra interesting. There is a I don't know. It can be something from designing an algorithm that is going to do something really interesting, or automating something that is pretty interesting, or some new domain or new team requirement or something like that that pops up where you get to work with something that feels pretty darn interesting. The problem is sexy. It's a tough problem, and you know you're going to really have to think about that, and that gets you excited. And I think that a lot of people feel that way. And the thing is that we prepare our junior software developers as if that is every day. We I like to say that we train our software developers as if they're preparing for the fucking Olympics, especially if you want to work in the fan companies. But the average grind is more like a slow jog. And in the beginning, a slow jog is going to be enough for you because you're simply not experienced enough to deal with much more. But it's not going to feel fulfilling to you. It's going to be good exercise and so forth, but what you really want in your hearts of hearts is to push it, to feel like you're pushing it, to feel like you're being all that you can be, and actually using those theoretical skills that you got and like the hard skills as well, of course. You want to put yourself to the test and really push it, and that is something that doesn't come around all that much in an average software developer's life. Sometimes, absolutely, and if you're in the right company, that is usually where you will find the most of this. So, what I suggest that you do if you feel disinterested in your place of work, it might be exactly what I'm saying. It might be that you actually just feel as if you're working on problems that don't seem that interesting. But I also want to kill your innocence a little bit and say that that's going to be the case for the vast majority of companies. Even if you get to work at a company where they have an interesting problem to make, you're not going to love every problem that you need to solve, because the unfortunate reality of software development is that you will have days where you need to do something really, really boring, or you need to fix a bunch of bugs, or you need to do shit that you don't like, some things that don't feel interesting. And even worse, in many cases, you're going to have to sit and learn about code or tools or things that you don't care about. You don't really want to deal with it, but these tools are the tools that are used in this company, and although there are some parts of the system that you find really, really stimulating and really interesting, there are some things that you don't really care about, but you still need to understand it because you're hired to do a job, and that job entails using whatever shitty legacy system they have to produce results. And so you might have the worst time ever in some areas of the code and the best time in other areas, and all I can really tell you is that try to maximize the time that you get to spend on the interesting problems. But I'm very sorry to say, unless you really are working in some type of, I don't know, research type of team, and even in that scenario you're going to have bad days. You're not going to be able to feel stimulated about every single problem, and I'm very sorry to burst your bubble. That is it's just not reality. So what I want you to take away from this is that if you feel like you feel disinterested at work, and you don't really feel like it's all that stimulating to work as a software developer, the only thing that I could suggest to you is that perhaps you are more interested in working on harder problems. And there are really, really hard problems that you can solve, but maybe not in your company, maybe not in your team. Maybe you need to actually find a problem that is worth solving to you. And the part about feeling dumb and at work and trying to learn how to just understand how the system works, dude, you have 1 year of experience. That's not enough for you to be a master programmer. It's going to take time to learn all this stuff, and feeling dumb is part of the journey. And another part that is really sucky that you're just most of the time going to have to deal with is that in many cases you can't just do whatever you want. You actually need to take the good with the bad, and you need to learn tooling and practices that you don't care about, because without them you can't produce the results that you are hired to produce. It's exceedingly rare that you can just do whatever you want. And if you want to improve in this area, I highly suggest to you to start looking into problems that you find stimulating to work on, because the rest of it is basically just doing the daily grind. You will improve if you just commit to the work that you are doing, but it's really hard for you, and you're not going to improve all that much if you don't feel interested in the thing you do. It's going to take longer, you're still going to improve, but you're going to hate the journey. And loving the journey helps a lot if you want to get good at software development. Have a great day.